Yes, we completed the trek to Kilimanjaro. We left at 11 o'clock last night and got home at 11 o'clock this morning. And it is definitely the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was absolutely brutal.
How do you feel, James?
Absolutely exhausted. But exhilarated at the same time.
I found Kilimanjaro incredibly difficult. I'm not actually physically wrecked. It's a real hurt. Very emotional.
This is it. Look, Kilimanjaro.
I remember the good bits forever. Someone will say, do you want to go climb another high summit? And I'll go, yeah, sure. And then someone will have to stop me because it's a terrible idea.
Trekking? My hobby is hill walking. I do it every Saturday. Obviously smaller heights, but I like a challenge.
Good for the mind, being outside in that environment, time to reflect on life.
I think that it can appeal to anyone who has a love of the outdoors, anyone who wants a tiny insight into wonderful places in this world. It's exciting, and once you've done one, you'll get the bug. It gets right into your heart and you start really, really enjoying trekking.
It's really interesting to try and push yourself to the limit and see how far you can keep pushing yourself. And I think that really helps then going back home and knowing you've achieved something you probably never thought you would. It's a real shift in mindset that's kind of has a huge impact on your day-to-day life.
You get a warm feeling, you know, when you meet people and they're super excited, and it's not fake or false. You get that by traveling, you know. When I go on these like little adventures and I go to new countries and meet new people and new experiences and get a little bit more personal pride of having achieved something, that I feel a lot better about myself when I go back.
It's been great to have 2 days actually and seen two completely different types of landscape.
The views we've been having so far have been really amazing. You come out of the rainforest and suddenly, after you've gone up a bit, you realise that you actually are at altitude, and suddenly you go, yeah, wow, okay, we're making some really great progress. And I think that's really encouraging this early on in the trek.
Strange, I don't know how it knows when to do it, but there's almost like a fine line where you go from like rainforest trees to like what you see behind me now, like shrubland and stuff like that.
On this trip, it would be really easy to get sucked into the first few days and think that that's what it's like for the whole trip. You spend a bit of time at lower altitude and you don't really feel the effects for a while, and then suddenly in the last 4 days you do acclimatise. However, you do jump in altitude quite a lot.
I don't have any doubts whatsoever that it's going to progressively get harder and harder. Altitude just does that to you. It's a leveller.
I always have a little bit of apprehension about the unknown, you know. Is my body going to be good this time? Am I going to react good this time? Every time you go to altitude is the first time, essentially. You know, you have to go through the same acclimatization process.
I think you just have to have respect for the altitude, especially, and have an absolute positive mental attitude. But you just don't know how you're going to react when you actually arrive here.
Being at altitude is a very difficult thing to deal with if your body doesn't react to it well. And I think if you start to lose energy on a trek like that, when you start to get above 3,500 meters and up, if you start to lose energy and you don't do everything you can to get that energy back by eating enough and you know, getting good sleep and stuff like that, it very, very quickly deteriorates, and it's extremely difficult to get out of that lowest point.
When you're on here, you do it all as a team. That's the main one thing. It's got to be a team effort. It's being together, one team, get there in the end, and that's the main thing.
Everyone's got a similar passion for doing what we're doing. It's not something you'd go on if you didn't enjoy it. So you all have something in common, and you get to know each other so quickly. Everyone's motivating each other. No one wants anyone to fail.
We all have our little private moments where we think things are getting difficult, but your friends aren't too far behind you or in front of you, so that's been really good. Morale seems high, lots of banter.
You forget that that's high.
Like top level bants at all times.
The team around you really helps you get through the altitude sickness. Everyone helped everyone else, and you all know that you're going to go through ups and downs of altitude. Some people weren't affected, others were more badly affected than others, and it's part of the trip actually, and I think it's part of what makes the trip so special, that everyone does come together to form such a bond and comes together as such a team, and that whole teamwork and group morale is really something that makes the trek special.
Going with the right team makes a big difference. If you go with the right team and you've got the right guides and stuff like that, you'll not only learn a lot more, which I think greatly adds to the experience, but it also shelves a lot of that worry and angst that you might have, because you know that if you do get sick or if something happens, that they know what to do, and they've got your best interests at heart, and they're not just doing a job, they actually care about you. I think we're fortunate that that is the case on the trips we go on.
The guides and the porters were also amazing. They helped so much with any altitude issues and were so knowledgeable and aware of what was going on and the surroundings. I think I was really impressed with how intuitive and how aware our guide was. The whole way they approached helping us and getting us through, I really don't believe I would have got to, and maybe actually a lot of the group wouldn't have got to the summit if it wasn't for our guides and porters.
From the moment we stepped foot on the trail, they were really happy to see us, really happy to make sure that we had the most amazing time.
You build a rapport with them as the days progress, and they become part of your strength and resolve in terms of actually achieving that trek.
That last day, which is the big one, is going to really hit home to a lot of people, no matter how experienced people are. I think it's going to be a beast of a day.
I think it'll be a massive achievement. It's not an easy task by any means. So to get there, it'll just be the icing on the cake, really. But then you've also got to think about getting back down. Your job's not over yet.
I walk well during the day. I'm untested in the middle of the night with a head torch on. I think I'll be as nervous as I've ever been, because you just don't know. You'll never find more determination coursing through your body, because you're within a few hours of actually achieving it.
About 2 hours into the summit attempt, I started throwing up at the side of the trail. I was about ready to quit at that point, more for the rest of the group, because I didn't want to spoil their attempt to achieve summiting Kilimanjaro. But the guides looked at me and decided that I was fit to go and gave me a kick up the backside, and I carried on.
If they don't know you can make it before you leave for the summit, they won't let you go. So even if you've got low energy and you're tired, if they know you can make it, you're going to get to the summit.
Even though it's hard sometimes and you wonder why, you're freezing on a glacier or struggling up a hill when you could be doing something, on a beach. But actually when I go home, I never remember the holidays I've spent on the beach, but I always remember these ones. So later on in life you'll be happier and healthier for having done these things, I think.
You're on the roof of Africa. What more can you want?
Seeing that sunrise for those few minutes made that hard work worthwhile.
Oh, I would tell everybody to do it. I will tell them how hard it is. It is a challenge. 24 hours of health in 8 days, it's not bad.
It was genuinely the hardest trek that I've done, but it was the hardest trek because of one day, one concentrated day.
I think summiting Kili allows you to reevaluate and readjust your perception of what you can achieve in life and how you can tackle difficult challenges.
You don't quite get to appreciate it on summit day because you're just so tired, but then the next day you realise what you've done and there is a massive sense of achievement there.
I find it difficult to say how I feel because I feel like it was actually a really big team effort. And so actually everyone getting up there meant a lot to me, kind of making it there with everyone was a really big deal. And I think anyone who does it should be immensely proud.
Kilimanjaro, 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 milima mrefu sana. Kilimanjaro, 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 milima mrefu sana. Kilimanjaro, 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 milima mrefu sana. Ewe nyoka, ewe nyoka, ewe nyoka, mbona wanizunguka, 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 wataka kulila nyama, kulila nyama, kulila nyama, kulila nyama, mbona wanizunguka, wanizunguka, wanizunguka.